It's been about 1 year since my last top 10 best Nintendo Switch RPGs, and there has been a lot of games that have came out since then. So I felt that we needed to go over it again and pick out the top 10 best RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. A lot of you guys asked me what are my favorites, so here we go, updated in 2023. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We're starting off with Octopath Traveler 2. Now, this is by far the best looking HD 2D game, bar none. It is phenomenal looking, and the graphical style is so cool. Reminds me of the Super Nintendo era and all of that back then, so I love that about the game. It's got a great story. I'm still making my way through it, but it's fantastic. It's emotional. There's very gripping tales across the whole cast. You're going to love what they've done here, and if you've played the previous Octopath Traveler, they've made a lot of adjustments and quality of life improvements over that game, so it is much better in pretty much every single respect. Now, the music is fantastic and the battle system is just as good, if not even better, with the latent powers that are blended in and a lot of the extra things in the game. The secret classes, or more like the secondary jobs, are all fantastic. Octopath Traveler 2 is a must-play, classic, old-school inspired RPG out there for fans. Next up at number 9, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 plus Torna. Now, I didn't want to have to put separate things because obviously Torna is DLC, but it's also a standalone, so I just decided to put them together as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 plus Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country. And both of these games have fantastic qualities to them, incredible music across the board, some of the best music ever created in an RPG or just period. Awesome story. Probably its strongest suit is the story combined with the music. It's just a super cool game that really gets you into it with the set pieces and cutscenes. You're going to be constantly enthralled with the motion cap or with just the animation and how they did things. It is spectacular. It's a spectacle when you start watching some of these cutscenes and some of the mechs and some of the other things that this game does. It's just really something that got me wanting to get to the next cutscene and get to the next cutscene with the story. The battle system is in depth and there is a lot of strategy there. It can be overwhelming at times, but if you conquer that, it is a very fun game to play. Torna simplified things a bit and I think actually made the battle system better without having to go to random blades and all that other stuff. It cuts off a lot of the fat and leaves the meat, and it's a ton of fun to play. I love the Vanguard switching back and forth. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 plus Torna, the full package overall for an RPG. Next up at number 8, Fire Emblem Engage. This is one of the newer games that have made it onto my list along with Octopath Traveler, and this has an incredible battle system. It's probably my favorite battle system ever in a strategy RPG and in a Fire Emblem game. It is really good here. I love the quality of life options, the presentation, and the UI is such an improvement over every single other Fire Emblem game, and I think that it's very inviting for new players who have never played Fire Emblem and they want to get into one. This UI, the quality of life, and how they organize things here is very well done. A little bit tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it is really, really good. Tons of replay value with this game, with the online and the trial modes. Very fun to go through, earn rewards, and be able to increase your character's weapons and their engage skills and everything else this game offers. And I love that about the battle system, the engage skills. Speaking of that, the fact that you have all of these classic Fire Emblem heroes in the past, Marth, Roy, Ike, it's just legend after legend, and they even add more via DLC. It is fantastic for Fire Emblem fans, and I love the engage system. It reminds me of like Fire Emblem Awakening and the pair-up system, but now you actually have it with super powerful heroes from the past. So if you're a Fire Emblem fan, this game is going to have some incredible scenarios, certain battle situations. There's just little attention to detail for all of the fans out there that love Fire Emblem. So that's what makes this game great. And honestly, it's the best graphics to date in a Fire Emblem game, hands down. Music's fantastic as well. Story isn't necessarily the best, but it has its memorable moments out there, especially, like I said, for Fire Emblem fans. Number 7, Persona 4 Golden. Definitely one of the best stories in an RPG ever. I think this game has fantastic gameplay with tons of content, which is good. You like that in your RPGs. great battle system that gets better as you play. As I play through the game, it starts off kind of simple, but as you start leveling up and you start going through the story and getting more mechanics and different things, it starts just getting better and better and better. Combine that with the social sim stuff, some of the other downtime things that you can do, the mini games, side quests, it just becomes one of the best RPGs that I've ever played and fits perfectly on the Nintendo Switch in portable mode. And of course, that banging soundtrack, man, it is incredible. Love the music in there. Get some headphones, throw it on, play some Persona 4 Golden. You're in for a good time. Next up at number 6, Shin Megami Tensei 5. This game is brutal and it's difficult, and I love it for that. It's no holds barred. It is no auto saving. It is, if you mess up, you can just be swiped, just literally snatched off the field at any point, especially on the hard difficulty. Heck, even on the normal difficulty, it can be brutal. Lots of demons, incredible battle system. I love the demon fusion and how they get that done. Great soundtrack that really just prods and pokes and kind of gets you to keep going. And that grit of this game with the demons and the world and the evil that is going on just perfectly suits everything. So the music really vibes with the game. Now, the story isn't the best in the franchise, but it's still good. If you complete all the side quests, you see more things that you wouldn't have seen before. And with the battling being as good as it is, I think it's the best press turn system, 1+ system that you get for exploiting the weaknesses. I think that it'll really just push you to kind of do everything in the game, because I know I 100% of this. It was fantastic. So SMT5, definitely one of the best, and earned that 6th spot. Next up, number 5, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This game could easily be number 1 for many people out there because it is a classic. It's so good, and when they brought it back to the Nintendo Switch, they updated it quite a bit. Not only does it run better, look better, but they also added quality of life options when it comes to navigation, when it comes to the UI, when it comes to the systems. So it makes a game that was already incredible and one of the best RPGs ever made and even rated, and it makes it even better on the Nintendo Switch. So that's absolutely a great thing. But obviously the combat and the gameplay is one of the things that people really focus on with this, along with something else we'll talk about in just a bit. But it has a very unique system with the Monado, to where you can see when something catastrophic is about to happen, and then you can prevent that by doing certain Monado skills. So it's fantastic. Every battle feels like some type of chess piece that you have to win with Shulk, and the characters are lovable. It's very fun as well. Incredible audio and music as well, top notch. Still puts chills down my spine listening to some of the soundtrack. Zanza the Divine, for me, is my favorite in there, along with many other tracks. There's so many good ones. Great replay value and content, and the huge detailed world was very impressive for the Nintendo Wii at the time, and it's still even impressive now at this point, a decade plus later, on the Nintendo Switch. So it's great. And let's just talk about the story. The story is phenomenal. One of the best stories ever, especially when you start connecting it with the other Xenoblade games. Phenomenal story. And even as a standalone by itself, it is great. It's something that I say every RPG fan should at least play. Try it out. And even if you don't like the game, at least look at the synopsis of the story, and at least look at some of the lore and the history and explanation, because the story is just legendary. Next up at number 4, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Now, this game, it always went back and forth with me with Fire Emblem Engage and Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and I personally kind of like Fire Emblem Engage and what it does, but we can't deny objectively the incredible things that Fire Emblem 3 Houses still to this point does, and I think that's why it makes it up so high on my list here. It's got a massive story with multiple paths and emotional endings. The story in this game is gripping. It gets you to continue just going and going and going. It's got some really great voice acting as well. Each character feels like they embolden the soul of that character. Each character goes into it, and it feels to me as if they were like born to play that role. The voice acting just really made the scenes pop to life, especially with some of the cinematics in the game and like the anime presentation. It's really good, and I think that's what makes Fire Emblem 3 Houses so good. Now, it has a bunch of other stuff. It's got great character customization. It's got these social elements in there as well. So if you're a Persona fan, this is going to be a game that you're going to like too. It's got really fun battles, strategic ones with great classes and weapons. You can spend a lot of time tweaking your characters to your fine tuning. So I do love that about this game. Now the graphics aren't great, but it is a massive improvement over the Nintendo 3DS titles that came before it. So that was definitely a benefit. So I did like that about the game when it came out back in 2019. Now Fire Emblem Engage obviously looks better, but I still feel that objectively Fire Emblem Three Houses does so many things that it's a bit better overall looking at it. So that's why I made it all the way up to number 4 on my list. Number 3, Astral Chain. Man, I had to debate on the top 3 here when it comes down to which game is my favorite. And Astral Chain is one of those games that, to me, it's one of the best games that I have ever played in my life. Platinum did a number here. Now, incredible graphics and style. I think that this really pushes the Switch to its limits when it comes to what the system can do. This is easily one of the best looking games that I have seen on the platform, hands down. The music is great, fits really in with the vibes and the theme of a high-tech police force that you are being a part of, like a cybernetic, almost cyberpunk style. Love the music in the game. Fantastic gameplay. This is the meat and potatoes, bread and butter. This is what moves the game forward. It's got fantastic gameplay, controls, replay value. It's all built in the classic Platinum Games style. Very fun upgrading system that's rewarding as you complete achievements and get new colors and customization. It's really cool to kind of go through and upgrade in this game, especially the legions. Upgrading them is a ton of fun, getting new skills and abilities and unlocking new things with them. You're going to spend a lot of time doing that, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially with the structure of the game, replaying the missions to get better scores, better times, more experience to just power up and level up and do more fun things in the game as you go on. So that is one of the best things about this game. Now, it's not the best story-wise. I can see kind of what's coming from a mile away, but it's still gripping. It's still just enough to say, okay, I want to find out what happens next. And probably one of the best things about this game, it is content and feature complete. No need for extra DLC, paying for anything else. It's all complete right there on the cartridge. I think there's an update that you can do, but for the most part, you can play it without it. And after you beat the game, it unlocks even more story-based content, like actual content for you to do otherwise that they could have probably sold as DLC, but they didn't. So I have to give Astral Chain, Platinum Games, and Nintendo huge props for that one, because it's just complete. Everything is on there, and there's no need to worry about anything else once you pick up this game. Go buy Astral Chain. It is phenomenal. Next up at number 2, we're getting down here. Top 2, Persona 5 Royal. This game easily could have been number 1. And the reason why I say that is because Persona 5 Royal has everything that you would want in a modern turn-based RPG. One of the best turn-based RPGs ever created. One of the best battle systems ever created. Fantastic graphical style. The graphics look great as well. Very sleek. It's very sharp. It just is oozing personality and style that you just don't see in this industry a lot. You don't see it. It's hard to get when it comes to what they've done in this game. It's got great additional content and value with the Royal Edition. A lot of extra stuff that was not in the base game that adds a lot of extra time and gameplay and content and value. So if you're someone that's looking to make sure you get the bang for your buck, Persona 5 Royal delivers in spades. Easily one of the best soundtracks as well. This music has you jamming, vibing. It just hits you in the feels at times. This is the type of soundtrack that you can take, put it on a CD, put it on your iPod, put it on your music player, play it with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, nephew, family, whatever the case is, and pretty much everyone will be like, okay, start tapping their head a bit and start saying, okay, what's all this about? Even if they don't know gaming, that's how good the soundtrack is. It is top notch, easily one of the best. Absolutely one of the reasons to even play the game in the first place. That's how good the music is here. And of course, it's got that fun social sim stuff, probably the best in the series when it comes to the sim or social sim stuff in the whole Persona series with 3, 4, and 5. I think 5 actually has the best of all of that. So when you combine the awesome content, great boss battles, great gameplay, music, soundtrack, everything. It just makes Persona 5 Royal easily one of the best RPGs of all time, and of course, one of the best Nintendo Switch RPGs out there. But now we're at number 1, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I could write a whole review on this game, which I did. Make sure you guys check it out, link in the description. But yes, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This has the most impressive scope and scale for a true RPG on the Nintendo Switch easily. The open world is massive and it is varied. It's not like every place looks similar or the same type of thing. They don't really cut any corners here. They used every ounce of the Nintendo Switch to get this game going, and it is impressive tech that they've got going here to make sure that this game doesn't blur to like 240p like we've seen with previous Xenoblade games or other major RPGs on the system. They did a great job with that. Fantastic music. I think that the music in this game is very, very uplifting when it needs to be. It's down when it needs to be. It's impressive. It's got that momentous weight of life track, right? It's always got one of those like Counter-Strike or weight of life that really moves you and touches you at the core. And that's what this game is all about. It's all about that with its story and everything. Now the graphics, presentation, fantastic, and I love what they've done with Xenoblade 3 over the previous ones, which is why it makes it number 1. This is another interesting thing. Multiple difficulty levels for newcomers and experienced RPG players. I think that was a key because it was great for me to be able to jump in there and play on the hard difficulty, and if somebody who's never played a Xenoblade wants to try it out, they have an easy, and then there's also a normal. And I love the fact how they've been able to seamlessly weave the first 2 games and everything that we've known so far into this title. That's not easy to do, and they did it very nicely here. So big love to Takahashi and Monolith Soft in order to get that done. That was very hard, but it is an emotional adventure that could leave you in tears when you're done. I've seen that so much. I was definitely tugging on the heartstrings a bit with this game. A lot of twists and turns, and has very relatable characters and scenes that maybe sometimes not necessarily happen to you in real life, because obviously this game is fantasy and there's all sorts of crazy stuff, but just emotionally from person to person. So I love that about this game. Now this has by far the best side quests that I've ever played in an RPG. Hands down. It has incredible side quests that are essentially main quests, but they put them as side quests so people that are playing the game and they just want to beat the game can get through it. But I highly recommend playing all the side quests because a lot of them are literally main quests and add so much to the story and also get you great content as well. A lot of stuff. It's very much worth it to do every single side quest that you come across in this game. And of course the battle system, the Uroboros, is phenomenal. I never expected them to do something like this, and it is just as good as advertised. I love the fact that each character has their own Uroboros transformation. That is very fun. Leveling that up was incredible as well. It really played a part into the story and everything, though. It wasn't just a transformation just to have it, but it was a focal point, and that's what made me love it even more with the mechanics and everything. Another addition, being able to switch on the fly in battle. That was awesome. Very good addition over the previous Xenoblade games, and great quality of life updates over previous Xenoblade games. A lot of the Xenoblade games, they're very kind of flawed at times, especially even at launch, or they just leave them that way until they come out with the remaster, like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. But this one didn't. This one was pretty much sound from a technical standpoint and also from a UI, menu, all of that sound point. They did do one little update that helped out with some things, being able to save the loadouts, but outside of that, the quality of life options, all of the different stuff, hot swapping, quick menus, all that was built right in there, no problem whatsoever. So I think that was also amazing about the game. To me, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the best Nintendo Switch RPG, but I'm sure a lot of you guys disagree with my list here. So please, in the comment section, make sure you put your top 10 best Nintendo Switch RPGs. What do you guys think about this? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't seen my other top 10 or best lists for the Nintendo Switch, please make sure you check it out. It's right here on screen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.